Hey everyone, I'm Carlos and I'm 27 years old. I'm originally from Spain. Just 5 months ago, I couldn't even put together a complete sentence in English. Even saying something as simple as, "How are you?" took a lot of effort. I felt completely lost. Today, I want to share how I managed to learn English in only 5 months. I didn't spend a fortune on classes, didn't travel to an English-speaking country, and didn't waste my time with methods that don't work. But this isn't just about me. It could be your story, too. If you've ever felt stuck, embarrassed, or frustrated with your English, then stay with me, because I've been right there. And if you follow along with my story, step by step, you'll learn how to actually make progress. Let me take you back to where it all started. My journey didn't begin with a burst of motivation. It began with failure, a major one that turned everything upside down. You see, I always dreamed of working for a big international company. My goal was to become a software engineer in a major tech firm. I loved coding, and I poured everything into becoming the best I could be. After years of hard work, I finally got a shot. I applied to a top company in the United States. When I got the email saying, "Congratulations, you've been selected for an interview," I was beyond excited. I could already picture myself living abroad, earning a great salary surrounded by amazing professionals. But when the interview day came, things fell apart. I joined the Zoom call and found myself facing 3 native English speakers. As soon as they began talking, it felt like someone had hit the fast-forward button. I couldn't follow what they were saying. Then came the first question. "Carlos, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your experience in software development?" My mind froze. I knew the answer, but the words just wouldn't come out. All I managed to say was, yes, I am software. I do coding, many projects. Good. I'm very good." I could feel the awkward silence slicing through me. They tried another question, but it was the same. I couldn't respond. Eventually, one of them smiled and said, "All right, Carlos, thank you for your time." I knew exactly what that meant. I had blown it. Not because I wasn't qualified, but because I couldn't speak English. That day, I realized something huge. English wasn't just a language. It was the key to my future, and I didn't have it. I felt humiliated. For years, I told myself that I didn't need English, that being good at my job was enough. But now, I knew better. Without English, I was invisible. That night, I made a promise to myself. I would learn English, and fast. Most people, when they decide to learn English, sign up for expensive classes right away. But I didn't go that route. Why? Because I'd already tried that, and it didn't work. About a year before, I had taken an online course. The teacher gave me vocabulary lists to memorize, grammar exercises to do, and boring rules to follow. But after 3 months, I still couldn't have a basic conversation. That's when I knew. Traditional courses weren't going to help me. If I wanted to learn fast, I needed a completely different approach, something that actually works in real life. That's when I came up with my 5-month plan. Let me walk you through it, step by step. In the first 15 days, I focused on something most people ignore, using the words I already knew. I didn't try to learn new vocabulary. Instead, I created a list of 50 survival sentences, simple, practical phrases I needed every day, like, "Hi, how are you? Can you repeat that? I don't understand." Every morning, I read those 50 sentences out loud, 10 times. At first, it was hard. My tongue felt slow, but within a few days, those sentences started to come out naturally. I also began talking to myself in English every single day. When I was alone, in the shower, cooking, walking, I'd describe what I was doing in English. For example, "I'm taking a shower. The water is hot. I feel relaxed." It felt silly at first, but soon I realized I was building my own personal English class, one that never judged me. After a week, I noticed my brain was starting to think in English without me forcing it. Another thing I did was practice 5 sentences a day, but with a twist. I would take short phrases from movies or YouTube videos and copy them exactly. Same rhythm, same tone, same emotion. Repeating them 10 times helped me improve my pronunciation and sound more like a native speaker. After 15 days, I stopped translating in my head. I could say basic things without hesitation. That was a huge confidence boost, but I knew it was only the beginning. Next came the real practice. I wanted to move beyond simple phrases. I needed to have full conversations and understand people without mentally translating. So I created what I now call the question-answer method. Here's how it worked. I asked myself a question in English. Then I answered it immediately, without overthinking. For example, "What did you do today?" At first I'd just say, "I worked." But then I pushed myself to say more. "I worked on my project. I worked for 3 hours. Then I took a break. I had some coffee." I kept adding details until full sentences became easy. I did this for 30 minutes every day, and my fluency improved fast. One of the hardest parts for me was pronunciation. Even when I said things correctly, my accent was strong. Native speakers understood me, but I didn't sound natural. So I used what I call the echo technique. I listened to a native speaker, paused the audio, then repeated the sentence exactly, copying the tone and speed. For example, I'd hear, "I don't know what you're talking about," and repeat it over and over until I sounded just like them. After a month of this practice, even native speakers started telling me my English sounded great. I also knew that vocabulary mattered, but memorizing word lists didn't work. So I used the story method. Each day I picked 5 new words, then wrote a short story using all of them. I read the story out loud 10 times, then used those words in real conversations. For example, excited, invitation, party, arrive, surprise. I'd say, "I was really excited because I got an invitation to a party. When I arrived, I was surprised. It was my birthday." This method helped me learn over 1,000 words without memorizing anything. To train my brain to think in English, I also described everything around me in English. When walking outside, I'd say in my head, "The sky is blue, the sun is bright, that man is wearing a red shirt." I also wrote in a daily journal, every night in English. At first, my writing was simple, but after a month, I could write freely and naturally. I stopped translating. The words just came. And here's something simple, but powerful. I made a rule to speak English at least 2 hours a day. No excuses. If I had no one to talk to, I talked to myself. If I didn't have time, I spoke while doing chores. Cooking, walking, cleaning. If I felt lazy, I reminded myself, English is my future. I can't give up. Finally, once I had built strong habits in listening and speaking, I pushed myself harder. I realized that listening and speaking are great, but understanding how sentences are built, grammar, also matters. So I started to pay attention to grammar patterns in context, not from textbooks, but from real-life usage. And everything started to click.